Last day, Paul Henry on a Monday morning. Our money man, Tony Field, joins us on the panel. Hi, Tony. Good to have you back. And Trish Sherson from Sherson Willis PR, which is funny, joins us now. No, anyway, it's that whole PR thing, you know. You love it, you hate it. Do you know what I mean?
Come on, move on.
But it's that whole spin doctor thing, you know.
You're talking nonsense, Paul, is normal.
Oh, how's it going? How's business going? Oh, we've got a bit of bad news coming down the track. Get hold of Sherson Willis. If we got bad news, they'll paint it. They'll make it look good.
I tell you what, have you seen...
They'll roll it in glitter.
Have you seen that amazing program, Babylon? Speaking of that, about the London police and their comms.
No, I haven't.
Comms. Absolutely.
Is it fantastic?
Genius. Absolutely genius.
Okay. All right. Number one today, schools lawyering up. I mean, we've been aware that this has been happening, but now, Trish, it's become more of a problem. So as a taxpayer, me and you now have to fork out extra money for principals to fight legal action.
Well, where's the conversation with the kids that goes, hey, why don't you try harder next year? That's what I find worrying about this. And what happens when these kids, you know, I have to employ people, you get these kids coming into your office, something doesn't go wrong. Oh, well, you know.
What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Oh, you didn't do that very well. I'll call my lawyers in.
Exactly.
So what is the answer to this? You know, I talked to the Secondary Principals Association this morning, and they talk about, well, you know, parents have to... The fact is, you've got parents that do this. What is the answer?
Well, the only thing that schools can do themselves is lawyer up as well, because the thing is, if there's an injunction taken, you have to defend it.
You've got young children, Tony. Would you ever, I mean, say your child, one of your children was, you thought, a brilliant singer, and they missed out on the lead role in the musical, and they were just in the back row of the chorus. You know, obviously you're miffed. You pull the child in, as Trish suggests. You say, look, if you sung better, you wouldn't be up the back. But would you be the sort of person that would get your lawyer in?
No, but, you know, I can actually imagine others would. And it's such a contrast from when I was at school. I mean, the word of the coach or the teacher just was sacrosanct. And generally they got it right too. Generally you knew who the people were who were meant to be in the team. The thing I wonder about is, imagine the parent that does take legal action. I mean, their kid's sitting there in the class, the kid who's made the team, you got to wonder what that does for morale. And in some cases too, it may be that the parents decided to get stroppy, even though the kid has said, no, Dad, Mum, don't, you know.
I'm sure this overwhelmingly comes down to parents. I mean, what child is ever going to say, oh, Mum, could you call the lawyers in? You know, because that's going to ostracise me at school.
And you know what goes on, you know, when the teachers and the adults aren't around, just among the students, you've just got to wonder what it does for the school morale.
Yeah.
Well, and also things like the school production. I know at my son's school, kids start going in the production in the chorus at year 7, and they work their whole school career to get a lead role. So this is also, it's arrogance and it's about queue jumping, and I think that's really unfair on the other kids.
Yeah, and the other, well, that's right, because if you're going to wedge your one in as a result of legal action, then someone who's probably more deserving is out. Yeah. But the other thing is, how do you even prove it? I mean, what are the lawyers supposed to do? I mean, at the end of the day, what happens? Do you decide, well, which of these two children is the better singer? Or
it's totally judgmental anyway. It's sort of not like, say, a sprint race or swimming where, you know, you've got first across the line and, you know, with this, it totally comes down to a judgment call anyway.
I've heard some terrible songs at school.
I've never been one for musicals, so attending the school musical has been challenging, but I have to say, the thing is, these kids put in hours, and also the teachers who give their time to coach or to do the performance. Imagine then suddenly you're facing court action and you're actually giving voluntarily hours and hours.
That's a very good point, because a lot of those teachers are doing it on a voluntary basis, you know, after hour activities.
And do the kids then grow, you know, when they're older, let's say they become a professional rugby player, they don't make the All Blacks, do they sue the rugby union?
Exactly. What do you drive, Tony? What's your vehicle?
V-Dub Golf.
V-Dub Golf. Reasonably late model?
Yes, very late model.
Trish, I know that you have his and hers Audis, don't you?
I have the his.
That's right. Oh, you've always got to keep men in their place. The reason I ask you this is Gull today are putting biofuel. It's actually a byproduct of beer, Brutroleum, they call it. They're putting it in one of their Bowsers at Gull. Would you put that in your car?
Would I sound like a real snob if I said I might, but I prefer if it was a craft beer derived product?
Tony suggested we try it out on your car first.
You see,
I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. I would not touch it with a barge pole. In fact, I don't know that any of my cars would even drive into a Gull service station.
Well, it's interesting. This is really big in marketing circles at the moment. I mentioned I've just come back from judging at Cannes Lions, but a big part of the entries were these kind of initiatives. Like last year in the States, one of the bacon companies derived a fuel from bacon fat and ran motorbikes across the US.
Well, it's fine if you're doing it as a competition or something, but if you're doing it to get to work in the morning, and if you've got nice cars, you don't want to risk it, do you?
Well, if it's going to, if it's the same price, give it a go.
Why not? Pipes, Paul, with something recycled.
Look at me. Do I sully my pipes?
No, indeed.
How did you start that off? I don't want to sound... What was that?
Like a snob.
Like a snob.
But I thought,
it's interesting, though, that, Trish, you didn't say, I don't want to sound like a snob, when you pointed out you've just been to Cannes.
No, indeed.
No, exactly. Heaven forbid you should sound like a snob.
You seem to want to overlook, Paul.
It's 24 minutes past 8. We'll be back in a moment with the panel. All right, welcome back. Our panel are with us this morning, Trish Sherson and Tony Field, our money man. 27 and a half minutes past 8. Trish, the royal christening, it's a million miles away from most people's ordinary lives, but is that why we're so fascinated in things like that?
I love the royals, absolutely love them. Can't get enough of it. And I think it's a bit of pageantry in our lives that you, as you say, you just don't get. Yeah.
It's sort of that living vicariously through the lives of people who have more fun.
My kids are fascinated. The whole idea of, princes and princesses, it's all fairy tale stuff. So
I said this morning, that, that what it does, it shows us up for the commoners that we are, because you look at them and they just look so perfect, don't they? And you think, I've got clothes in my wardrobe that are just too hard to put on. I just can't be bothered. And they'd look better if I could be bothered, but I can't.
Yeah, well,
and I'm sure the same could be said of you, Trish.
Well, that's insightful, isn't it, Paul? I'm wondering, be like, playing Twister in the morning in your wardrobe, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. But with only a very few coloured dots.
Indeed.
The thing is, the point I was making was, if we just made more effort, we could look better. Because you look down the street in New Zealand on an average day, and it's pretty depressing.
Well, you got up at 3, and it's now 8:30. You got up before anyone else, and I have to say, I wouldn't sort of say it was head and shoulders perhaps above most people's style.
This is after a team of people
helping them. And also they know they're going to have the world's media taking photos, watching them. So, each time they go out, it's the big occasion. So, of course, they're going to spend hours prepping for that.
I know why they're doing it. But the point I'm making is they just look so good, and you look at them enviously. And really, it just comes down to a bit of effort. Because they do. They look like she's there with the pram all polished, and she's looking all lovely, and she's only just had a baby, and she looks better than any other woman on the planet. And there's a lovely, beautiful baby in the pram, and little George there with his little retro outfit on.
Yeah, but it's a set piece, isn't it? It's like in the rugby. It's a set piece, this christening. It's not just free form.
All right, they like that every day, actually, even when they're in their sort of civvies. Okay, very quickly, because clearly you don't agree with me. Very quickly, this 7.9 square metre apartment inside 7.9 square metres that's just sold for $104,000. Really, have things got that bad?
I think it would be great because you could park your biofuel car outside on the pad, perhaps sleep in the car, and then it's a very compact
if you had your car
footprint.
Anywhere near this apartment, you would need to sleep in it.
At first I thought it sounded ridiculous, and then I thought, wait a minute though, for somebody, you hear about all these people who commute, they work in Auckland during the week.
Yep.
If you go in there, you don't get in there till Monday night. Well, you're going home on the Friday morning, and they're probably working late or dining out every night. 2 words for you. Communal toilet.
Yes, I was going to say.
Yes.
Anything with communal facilities, campgrounds, etc.
I
don't go near it.
And so I thought these
don't go near it.
Same as when you go. Well, I don't go to the gym, but I'm told at the gyms, you've got the showers, the toilet. It'd be the same thing. And I'm sure it's a very nice quality communal toilet.
I don't know. Sometimes people just go for the communal facilities, but we won't talk about them. Trish, Tony, thank you very much for joining us. It's